Hey guys, and welcome to my channel in this video. I've decided to just rant about a couple of topics and things that have come to mind recently growing up. As you sort of enter your mid to late 20s as a man. In this video I've just got some OG Warzone gameplay in the background. I think this was my first ever game I played with my friends back in the day, 2020. So nothing crazy, but I just thought it'd be cool to play in the background. It takes me back to the good old times. Anyway, today I just want to talk about losing friends in your 20s, or sort of as you get older. You know, it's just and I just want to talk about things that have sort of become apparent to me as growing up. Now I'm nearly 28, so entering sort of my late 20s now. And over the years, you sort of discovered and found, you know, lots of friends and groups and stuff come in and out of your life. And you know, as I'm getting older, I'm sort of realizing why, in a sense, and you sort of start to develop your own worldviews and whatever that may be. Myself, you know, I'm a Christian man and I'm trying to navigate that, you know, growing up, and it's tough out there for everyone, and even if you're not religious or whatever. So without going into too much detail, you know, I've had plenty of friends, or so-called friends, that have sort of come in and out of my life, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate, and I see it in younger people than 19, 20-year-olds. I sort of see myself a bit in these people, and sort of just reflect on it when I meet these people at my workplace or whatever, and you just sort of reflect and go, wow, like you see a bit of yourself in them, and then you realize how much has changed, or, you know, you want to try and mentor these people younger from what you've sort of learnt growing up, you know. And unfortunately, sometimes the best way to learn hard things is by experiencing and doing them ourselves, or going through hardship ourselves, which I've definitely experienced. There's lots of things in the past where certain people would just say this and this and this is wrong or whatever, but you can't just go, oh, whatever. But then you experience it, and then you just understand, you develop this deep understanding for certain things. Anyway, without going into too much detail, specifically recently I've had two friends that specifically literally cut me off, just sort of seemingly out the blue. I have another sort of high school friend we got close a bit again, on and off again. It's just, you know, petty high school drama, but I've just come to the conclusion I just don't have time for that stuff anymore. You know, as you get older, you just don't have time for high school petty drama. And when it comes to dating, whatever, some people you just go, enough's enough, I'm just over drama, and then those people sort of leave your life because some people just don't want to move on from the past and their drama. So yeah, I just want to speak about these two friends in particular. You know, this one friend I met through work, and long story short, we had a discussion, and then about certain topics, you know, politics, whatever that may be. Now, I don't incite violence. I don't hate any specific group or people or whatever, but I still firmly believe certain things, especially as a Christian, trying to just do my best each day to live a Christ-like life. I'm not perfect. I've done stupid things, and we all have. And inevitably, some people won't like what you have to say or stand up for. And sadly, you will never convince some people otherwise. And you don't have to, you know. People don't have to agree with you on everything or see eye to eye on everything. And that's the beauty of life. And that's actually what creates connections. That's what helps you grow, is when you don't actually agree on everything. But unfortunately, some people don't see that and just think if you don't see their worldview, you know, they can't associate with you. And then you have the group that has the same high school friends, the same toxic group. They do the same things all the time for years and decades, you know, and you bump into your old friend 10 years later, you know, hey, what's up? You know, nothing's changed for them. You know, they're still their same toxic self. They're still miserable. They haven't really achieved much. And, it's not about achieving everything and being a millionaire. I'm not talking about that. It's just more, you know, you just see their life and they're just miserable. You know, you can just see, you know, and they just with the same group, the same people. They don't want to take a step out of faith, you know, and step out of their comfort zone. And I truly believe a big cause for this, and this is what I've learned, is as I'm getting older, I'm learning to stand up for what I believe in, especially as a, you know, Christian, and certain morals around certain touchy topics. And again, I'm not inciting violence. I don't hate anyone, or I'm not aiming this at any specific group. I'm just learning to be firm in what I believe. Not in an aggressive, angry way, but just be firm. You know, and if you want to hang out with me, if you want to still associate with me, great, you know. If not, then you just look at it as their loss. And you just clearly, those people aren't meant for you. I feel like today, not just men, you know, everyone around the world, I don't know what it is, but we just have this fear of speaking up or just standing for what you believe in, and you just have this fear of, I don't want to upset anyone, especially if you're religious or not religious, whatever it is, you have this fear of not upsetting the people around you, and that ultimately is the worst thing to do, rather than actually standing up for what you believe in and losing friends in the process, if that makes sense. Because you just have this internal gut feeling with certain things. When something's not right, or you're being robbed of your peace or happiness, or you truly believe in something, but you're sort of not having self-respect for yourself because you're not standing up for that, because you're letting so-and-so walk all over you. So I just wanted to talk about this, and because a lot of people wonder, like, why am I losing friends and this and that, and it can be tough. For the most part, you inevitably are going to encounter that, where your friends are going to go completely different paths, and sometimes it's just unforeseen circumstances. Your friend gets a job overseas, or and that's just life. You move on, and sadly, not all friendships last forever. Now, if it's not uncommon to have a true friendship from young all through your life, and that's great. I'm blessed with many different friendships. The things I've learned about this, specifically these last two friendship sort of cut-offs, is that if they're meant for your life, and they truly love and care for you, they'll be in your life, right? And if they go, you just got to look at it as their loss, not yours. If you know deep down you're doing the right thing, you've got integrity, you've got self-respect, you're not the problem. And maybe there's some things you need to reflect on or think about or whatever, and of course, but for the most part, you're not the problem. And in a sense, they're not even the problem. It's just not meant to be. They're not meant to be in your life. And unfortunately, if you stand up again for what you believe in, you speak up how you feel. A similar thing happened with my ex in a recent relationship, which I might go into detail in another video, but similar thing happened where I spoke up how I felt, and it just sort of blew up from there. And you get called all sorts of names, accusations, and it hurts. It does hurt. It turns out my friend, the friend that left or sort of disassociated from me, called me all sorts of names under the sun behind my back, and yes, it stings, it hurts. And then my other close friend, he just sort of cut me off because I didn't agree with him on a certain political topic or something, which I think is a bit unreasonable and silly. But you can't force it, and it's not your job to force it, and it's not your job to force them to see things how you see things. And I truly believe that certain people are just not meant for your life. Some people are meant for certain seasons of your life, and some people are not. I've had amazing people that have helped me through some difficult times in my life for, say, a year or two, and then I haven't talked to them or seen them in years. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think it's not loving the person if you decide and you can walk away from someone too. You have every right to go, hang on, this person is toxic here. Walking away is the loving option. You're not a bad person for wanting to walk away from someone. It can be lonely once you sort of lose friends and you're trying to figure out what you want to do, your career path, all that stuff. I'm going through heaps of things at the moment, trying to navigate life. It doesn't get any less confusing, sadly. And I feel like as long as you're putting some sort of effort and you're not being because there is an extreme type of person that just recluse and they just disassociate with outsiders, which I don't agree with at all. But I'm not also saying, throw yourself out there, cold approach girls, even go up to guys, you don't have to do that. But you just got to find that balance of going, all right, at the moment I'm going through a season where I don't really have any friends. I feel like no one really cares about me. But as long as you're just trying, just little steps of a new job or whatever, or talking to this person, And I truly believe that like God puts the right people in the right place in your life at the right time. I've been blessed, I've been through some very lonely periods, but then these people have just come out of the blue, even if it's an old friendship being rekindled, it just comes at the most perfect time. And sometimes it comes from you reaching out, but other times it just sort of naturally happens. I've got a good friend from my university a couple of years ago, and I still see him go out for dinner, and we have completely different political views and whatnot. But you know what? You standing up for yourself and what you believe in actually highlights your true friends and the friends that are not true to you. And the people that I have in my life now, they know where I stand, they know who I am, they know how I am. So therefore, I don't actually feel like I have to be inauthentic around them. I can just be my authentic self, and that ultimately is freedom, and that makes those friendships you currently have all the worth it. Because you can just, as long as you can be your authentic self around people, it goes, and they can accept that and be around you, they are your true friends, and family and whatever it is around you, and even in a relationship. So please, if it's anything to take from this video, guys, I just want to say, just be strong. Try and stand up for what you believe in. You don't have to be a people pleaser and appease people, even if your gut feeling and your peace and your happiness and joy is being robbed. Put yourself first. There's nothing wrong with walking away from that relationship, that friend, that, family member. As hard as it is, it's so hard, and I know that from experience with certain things. But you're going to be okay. And if you just put a little bit of effort, you don't need to go crazy, buying courses, cold approaching, all this stuff. Just trust the process, trust in God that He will guide you and lead you to the right people, the right place, the right time, and your needs will be met, because I can attest to that from my own personal life, that I have not gone a single moment without what I need in the moment. You will be stretched, you will be challenged, you will be tested, but let the perseverance through all that create your character into the full potential that you have, that lacks nothing, and can gain understanding and wisdom and all that stuff. Don't mind that rant. There was no real script or anything. I just wanted to share what was on my chest, on my heart. I'm sure there's so many things I forgot to say, or, there's lots I could talk about. But I really hope, this reached one person. If it reached one person, I've done my job. If it's reached 100 million people, awesome. But, I really hope that whoever's listening to this, that you just got something out of it, and that I'm able to be a blessing to someone. Trying my best to just be a good follower of God and just navigate life, and just like a lot of people out there, a lot of men and women alike. So I hope you enjoyed this rant and this little chat. Until the next one, I'm sure I'll find some other topics to talk about. I hope you have a really nice day, and just remember, everything's going to be okay, as long as you just don't give up and hang in there. I'll see you in the next one.